Hello, welcome to Recapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at ReCapping Podcast.
Also, comment, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We would love to hear your ratings of the movies and shows we review.
Email us your audio file to recappingpodcast@gmail.com and we will play it during the show.
Or DM us on Instagram and we will post and read it on air.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you. What's good, Ashley?
Hello, Delora. You know, by the time that this recording is out, we will be nearly reunited and it feels so good. Okay?
Yes. I'm super excited. And it's been a while. I think the last time we saw each other is when we went to Essence Fest in New Orleans. So
yes, I've been recovering since.
Girl.
That was a hell of a time, but it was a marathon.
Absolutely. So before we go ahead and get into our quick headlines and hot topics, I want to shout out one of my friends from Bowling Green State University, Alyssa. Thank you so much for the love and listening to our podcast. She DM'd me last week after our quick headlines and hot topics and said that she listened to us and it was a great episode. It was the episode with Meghan Markle and Serena. So want to say thank you for your continued support and mutual love of Abbott Elementary, which we are currently missing right now, Ashley.
Coming back soon. We appreciate you, Alyssa. Don't forget to go ahead and rate us, give us 5 stars. Go ahead and drop a review on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate you, girl.
Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our quick headlines. Ashley, I am looking at people.com. Pregnant, Blake Lively poses in her underwear as she shows off baby bump in quote-unquote real life. Blake Lively, wife to our favorite Ryan Reynolds.
Indeed.
Debuted a baby bump last Thursday, surprising the world, including close friends, apparently, with baby number 4. The couple currently have 3 daughters, James, 7, Inez, 5, and Betty, 2. According to this People article, sources say that she's an old-fashioned kind of mom and she's very attentive and devoted to her children. And this article also discussed why Blake displayed her bare baby bump in an Instagram post. The paparazzi were apparently following her after the surprise news. She was speaking at the 10th annual Forbes Power Women Summit, and apparently they were stalking her family, which is not okay, but she decided to provide this information. The Instagram post also includes a picture of her and Taylor Swift hugging, which is peak squad goals. Ashley, how adorable is this news?
Baby Quattro. That's what I have in my notes. I mean, I did not realize when I first saw like a story about her that that's what the announcement was. Like I just saw Blake and I was like, oh, I'm sure she's doing something fashion, looking great as usual. And then saw the caption about, I just love to create things, whether that's this, that, humans. So I just thought that was really cute way to kind of make the announcement. But clearly they going for that boy. That's all I could think.
That is what I am thinking as well. Clearly. And we barely got a glimpse of their daughters. I think the last time we saw them was during the Hollywood star ceremony for Ryan. And that was several years ago. So I'm sure they don't even look the same. And as I mentioned in that post that Blake had, she wanted to thank the media who have a no kids policy. She's like, you all make a difference. And she loves them much because, as we know, paparazzi, that culture is pretty intense. And honestly, I thought it cooled down much more than, what it used to be back in the day.
Didn't Halle Berry and some other celebrities band together to like get legislation passed? I mean,
Jennifer
I guess
Gardner.
that doesn't apply to the kid in the womb, but you know, once they're born, I guess they'll be more protected.
The Anna, Kristen Stewart is also big on that as well. So congratulations to the Reynolds.
I have no idea what they're going to name this baby either, because their names are so varied. Couldn't guess it. Couldn't call it.
Varied. Although I love James for a girl. Like, adore.
I've always liked boys' names for girls. Can't say I love girls' names for boys quite as much, but
I remember the first Ashley I met, and he was so cute. And I was, at band camp.
Now, granted, historically, Ashley did start out as a boy's name. It did. Because I had like this whole origin thing of my name that I was given back in the day, and it was originally a boy's name. But we've definitely feminized it in terms of what it's seen as today. But I'm saying, you have Tracy, you have Stacy, you have guys named Leslie, like you have all sorts of those crossovers. And I guess I'm just a little bit more in favor of the boys translating to the girls, but maybe it's just me.
No, I'm there with you. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our second quick headline. This is a follow-up from our discussion a couple of weeks ago. This is from Entertainment Weekly. Child sexual abuse claims against Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears dismissed. This news came out yesterday. This is difficult, Ashley. Okay, so in the Jane Doe lawsuit, it claims that the comedians forced the woman and her brother in separate performances for skits to do inappropriate sexually suggested acts on camera. And apparently, as of yesterday, the judge dismissed the case with prejudice, which means that it cannot be refiled. The statement obtained by TMZ first reported that the plaintiff said, "My family and I have known Tiffany Haddish for many years, and we now know that she would never harm me or my brother or help anyone else do anything that could harm us. We wish Tiffany the best and are glad that we can all put this behind us." My question to you, Ashley, is, can they? Because, girl, there was a TMZ video came out just this afternoon following Tiffany Haddish in the airport. And he was asking her, "How did it feel with this case now behind you?" And she was like, "I don't have a job. I have lost all my jobs." Actually, this one is very, very hard. I mean, even when we were talking about this, we talked about the Ricky Martin situation as well. And it's just, again, Tiffany Haddish has expressed deep regret for those skits. And
it's hard to come back from pedophilia. This is what we talked about as well. Like, once those allegations are out there, and it's not even in this case just allegations in terms of the inappropriateness of what actually happened, because we have the footage that we can watch that people have reviewed again and realize how inappropriate and gross the behavior was, right? But when I read this news yesterday, and the fact that they didn't mention Aries Spears at all with this retraction, Tiffany's team paid them. That's just my thought. I'm just gonna say that because
Ashley,
it's too swift.
Yes.
The rhetoric, the same way I talked about with the Ricky Martin rhetoric, there's certain rhetoric that just stops me in my tracks. And it's like, and you dismiss it with prejudice.
Yes.
There were some things signed, in my opinion. There's some money exchanged, in my opinion. And it does give credence to the idea that this was just a shakedown, in the sense of it was always all about probably some level of wanting financial compensation.
Actually, this is what they listed. They said intentionally inflicted emotional distress, gross negligence, sexual battery, sexual harassment, and sexual abuse of a minor. And what also didn't help, I hate to say it, is Tiffany's lawyer, her attorney, Andrew Britter, I can't pronounce his last name. He's freaking Prince Andrew's lawyer.
Oh, God.
So some of these things.
That PR is terrible.
That part. So,
Andrew, I don't sweat.
Andrew, I stayed at my friend's house, but you're a prince of an entire country that kind of like colonized, we'll get there, a percentage of the world. There was a saying, the sun doesn't set on the British Empire, but you had to stay at your friend's house. The one that's known for
That's why he's getting them damn corgis. Okay.
Yes.
Going back to this case. Going back to this case, I don't think this is going to go away anytime soon in terms of public perception, right? It's tough. No matter what happened behind the scenes, it's tough.
Public opinion is at a negative right now for Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah.
I think the Black community will probably hold her up, but the momentum that she had for the last several years post Girl Trip, man, maybe she took all those jobs for a reason or something. I don't know.
Well, she did always say she feared ever being homeless again, so she paid off her house and would buy other real estate. So at least her house is paid off. Do I think this is an offense or something that she should never be able to move past? I don't personally think so. I think this was, again, a huge error in judgment. And I'm taking this as the facts as she has presented them, not if there really was any level of true molestation that went on additionally behind the scenes. Let me clarify that. If a child was touched inappropriately, all of y'all can burn in hell. But
period.
If what has transpired just being, I brought them into this skit, I thought it was funny, what have you, and obviously that was a huge error in judgment, then I hope she's able to move past this. But the way this was dismissed was interesting, because didn't they say right before this, like, they deserve to be arrested immediately?
And we were concerned because Tiffany's camp was saying it'll go to trial. We can't talk about it. So we thought it would be a longer
situation
process. Unlike the Ricky Martin situation, which happened, I think, in the span of a week, literally.
I still think that was a payoff as well. Maybe I'm cynical, guys. Maybe I watch too much. Yep. I think there's always an Olivia Pope behind the scenes somewhere. Or if y'all watch Flack, Anna on that show, the same. Like, there's somebody, in my opinion, always putting out fires and doing some stuff behind the scenes. So that's my take, Delora.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to our next quick headline, which, is it going to be quick? I don't know.
It will be for me.
I'm teasing because the coverage has been non-stop since September 8th. Queen Elizabeth II has died. And for a country that celebrates 1776, the news coverage was relentless. I mean, did our queen die?
Right. The only coverage I've even seen was I turned on to watch The View, and that was on, and I was like, okay, turned it right back off.
You know me, I'm a news junkie, and I've actually don't watch as much news as I used to, but MSNBC, CNN, all the places talking about this freaking funeral.
I just have not been paying enough attention. After I've stepped away from working in the television industry, my interest, or not even my interest, my attention span probably for watching television has diminished. So I definitely am not watching as much television, not turning on my television nearly as much until I'm watching something like one of our shows or something we're going to recap. So it's just not been on the forefront of my mind whatsoever to watch any of this coverage. I'd love to see what Meghan was wearing, though. Maybe that's been the most interesting thing for me.
So before we get into the fashion, was there anything else that was notable about the proceedings of the mourning of a country, 70 years on the throne. So I don't negate her impact on the world and even the process, but I found out that, as we all know, the funeral was this Monday. No one in Britain apparently could bury their dead the same day the queen is going to be buried. Like, that's how intense that is. And so very, very, very interesting tidbit there.
Is that law? Like, how do you know that? How would you know that?
A Black Brit complaining about all the news coverage and things like that talked about how she was like, it's giving dictatorship on like the type of rules, because it's bank holidays, so things aren't open, all in mourning of their queen. So some tidbits that was interesting with this funeral. I'm looking at the New York Times. It says that the Queen's funeral drew in 11.4 million viewers in the United States. So even though it was overwhelming for me personally, apparently I'm not the only one. Apparently I'm not the demographic, because people tuned in. I personally...
Were some of those people held hostage, though, if it was on every channel? Maybe some people just are still using rabbit ears and they had no other choice.
Well, they said that in the United Kingdom, the average viewership was around 26.2 million. And that was for the Westminster Abbey funeral that happened at 11 o'clock. So it also noted that Princess Diana funeral in 1997 drew in 32 million viewers in the UK. So I thought that was an interesting stat that they provided.
So shady.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. The other part that I wanted to bring up in part for myself, why I wasn't interested, is what Meghan and Harry probably were going through throughout that time when they started going back and forth on whether or not he could wear his uniform for the different, moments of mourning, or, they're known for their pomp and circumstance and all that. I was like, y'all are playing with them at this point. They were rescinded an invitation to one of the dinners that happened on Sunday, where all the world leaders attended, claiming that, it's only for working, quote unquote, royals. It's like, why did they get the invitation anyway? So part of that kind of really rubbed me the wrong way and kind of drew my attention away from all the festivities, because I'm like, y'all not gonna play Harry. And to see Harry walk behind his grandma's casket in a suit and not his army uniform, knowing that he's the only one who had real active service, it just reminded me of the image of him walking behind freaking Diana when he was a little boy. And I'm just like, y'all are not going to break my heart again. I'm not doing it. So let's talk about something a little bit lighter. The fashion, okay? Was there anything that caught your eye, Ashley?
The main outfit I feel like I saw that Meghan wore was that sleek black dress with the black hat that looked like, the church,
that nasty tilt.
That church hat of many Black women's dreams. I mean, she was impeccable. And I know it's a funeral, so it's not, it feels a little gross to talk about fashion when someone has passed away.
It does, but
she looked fabulous. She did.
Again, the world was watching, literally. I'm glad that you said that, because both she and Kate wore repeat outfits. Or I shouldn't say it's necessarily repeat, but they're dyed black for mourning. So Kate, who is now the Princess of Wales, wore a black double-breasted Alexander McQueen coat, and it's a darker version of the style that she wore at the Queen's Platinum Jubilee earlier this year. And the outfit that Meghan wore with the cape is the black version of the navy one that she wore to the Queen's 92nd birthday back in 2018. So
I do remember that dress, actually.
Same. And so I was like, oh, I see. But again, that hat was everything. And I appreciated the simple elegance or the AKA diva that she brought to that tilt and that hat. So call back to her podcast, which she also put on hold to respect the queen in the country's time of mourning. All right, Ashley, let's go ahead and get to our first hot topic of today.
I'm debating if I'm going to Whoopi Goldberg this thing, because when they talked about this on The View, Whoopi was like, next topic. Like, was acting like she was falling asleep in her chair.
So part of the reason why this is a hot topic is because, frankly, the boldness of everything, it's kind of like, yo, people are paying attention. So this Instagram model went on her TikTok and revealed flirty texts that she received from Adam Levine, who is a married man whose wife is currently pregnant with their third child. And I guess she wanted to get, quote unquote, ahead of the story. And so she revealed it. And since then, I'm taking a look at Yahoo Entertainment. Allegedly, there's 4 additional women who have
I'm laughing because this is the first I'm hearing, but I'm not even remotely surprised.
So when that Instagram model came out with it, her name is Sumner. She decided to come out with it because she said, yes, she had an affair with him, flirty text, but then he decided to reach out to her recently and genuinely asked her whether or not it would be okay if they had a boy, if they can name their child after her.
The disrespect.
The audacity.
For that alone, he would be out mouth. For that alone.
So the other reason why this is a hot topic, because this is the hottest thing in pop culture since the Don't Worry Darling Italy Film Festival, which I wish we were available to talk about, because the way I was obsessed with that.
You were sending me so many things. I'm like, oh, she's living for this.
It was over Labor Day weekend. It was everything. Anyway, Maroon 5 is one of my favorite bands. And to Sumner's point, yes, at this rate, their music is elevator music, but their first album, Songs About Jane, is a no-skip album for me. Like, this is when they first came on the scene. I mean, Hard to Breathe, This Love, She Will Be Loved. And I bring this up because on this Instagram account called Comments by Celeb, it's a picture of Adam Levine's a post that he has, and someone wrote underneath it, it's like, men will literally say that they don't mind spending every day out on the corner in the pouring rain and then cheat on you during your pregnancy and name your baby after the other woman.
It's a cold world. It's a cold world.
Is Adam in misery? There ain't nobody who can comfort me. Oh, yeah. Please
Girl,
tell me
I don't
you know what I'm talking about.
I sure don't, because I'm not a Maroon 5 fan like that. I know there's some of their singles.
Girl, I
but
own
you
every
cannot
album.
ask me about an album. I'm not in that with you. I'm so sorry. I wish I could support you in this way.
Shout out to everyone who understood what I just did there. Thank you.
But let me say this. I just read about this today. I have not been plugged into this drama. I went to E! News and I'm like, that's like the top 3 or 4 headlines.
Yes.
It's not just the story, but Chriselle Stouse's reaction, Emily Ratajkowski's reaction. I'm like, why is this man and news of what's going on in his marriage such a big thing in Hollywood? Because for me, I guess Adam Levine is not that guy in my mind to solicit such strong reactions or opinions. Maybe that's just me personally.
No,
right?
That's fair. But he also is super popular. I think it's the fact that He asked his former mistress if he can name his child.
It was the circumstances. It was the circumstances.
You gotta be fucking kidding me with that, right? Like, what?
I appreciate that, people want to make it seem like he didn't actually cheat, that this was an emotional affair. Who are y'all kidding?
Because
Who are y'all kidding?
That is what he's claiming right now.
I understand.
Oh, I didn't cheat, but I have crossed a line.
I understand. And that's bullshit. As soon as I read this statement, I was like, okay, Bill Clinton. Like, I just don't understand
semantics.
The idea of even entertaining that this was simply an emotional affair. Yeah, fucking right.
And the fact that 4 additional women have come out, it is a behavior of his.
I don't know what goes on in people's marriages. I don't always know. Y'all could have arrangements. Y'all could have other conversations that allow for this type of behavior. But obviously putting out this statement saying we're going to get through this together, all this and that, makes it seem as if your wife had no idea that you would have been doing the shenanigans that you were possibly doing on the side. So I'm not invested. I have no skin in the game in this. I don't care. But at the same time, it is ridiculous to me that this has become what it is and that he made that statement, because I don't believe a word that he says. It never surprises me when these guys step out in their relationships. Never.
Even if they're married to a freaking Victoria's Secret model.
If Beyonce, as you know, I don't ever quote Meghan McCain, gross, but as Meghan McCain once said on The View, if Jay-Z can cheat on Beyonce, what chance do I have?
It was Eric Benet for me and Halle Berry. I was like, yo.
Even Jay-Z had that in the lyrics to a song. You remember?
Oh my God.
And Eric Benet responded.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you are of those calibers and you get cheated on, absolutely, it can happen. And that's not just to say that you have to be the most beautiful woman in the world and all this and that, right?
Yeah.
But the point is, Adam Levine absolutely cheated. It doesn't surprise me. It shouldn't surprise anyone. The only person that's ever going to break my heart if I find out they cheated is Barack Obama, because he is half bae, half daddy. Like, I don't know how to say that without making it weird.
You and I are on the same page. I have been saying this for so many years, and I'm like, y'all, I know he's the same age as my father. Yes. But the power and the intelligence and that swagger. I love you, Michelle. I'm going to stop talking about your husband. Okay,
exactly. That's why I don't say it out loud often. Because I could never, but that would break my heart. Otherwise,
I think he's clear. I think
any of them.
Honestly, I have faith in him, because if he had cheated on Michelle, the Republicans would have been on that.
There you go, Delora. Keep that energy. I agree.
First Black president, and if he had a strain,
if he had a skeleton in that closet, it would have come out a long time ago. Keep that energy.
Exactly. But Michelle know what it is. I mean, the fact that he called her fine during their portrait reveal, I'm like, I love this so much. Oh my gosh. Okay. The official presidential portrait. So anyway.
What do you think about this scandal?
Again, I think he's in misery right now.
But do you think he did it? Do you think he went all the way with this young lady and the other 3 or 4?
I think the first one, absolutely. The one who revealed that he asked her to use her name. All the other women, I think he probably... I wouldn't surprise me if he sends flirty texts to women to stroke his ego in some way. Like, you understand? Like, nothing surprises me with men. I hate to say it like that. Especially men with power and money. Yeah.
That's the thing. Men in those positions, celebrities, athletes, any form of entertainer, it never surprises me. Regular guys cheat often and regularly.
That is what I am saying.
Let alone once you're a guy who gets, the PUSSY thrown at you on a different level. I still always think of that one picture of Steph Curry where that chick is staring him down in the stands with this look of extreme lust. And I just think I can't even imagine. Remember the daddy? I know you don't love and basketball, but I always say the daddy talk about the boldest one is in your room waiting for you.
Yes.
Can't imagine. Can't imagine. So no, this doesn't surprise me. Never surprises me. Wishing his wife the best in her pregnancy, that this is not going to stress her to no end. Cause girl.
Yep. Well said. Let's go ahead and talk about our final hot topic today.
Look at this stuff.
Isn't it neat?
Wouldn't you think my collection's complete?
You know, I know that whole song front and back.
Girl, it's my favorite Disney song of all time.
Here's a little anecdote about me and David's relationship that's really random and hilarious. So when we started dating, I told him I loved Disney movies. I grew up with them. The Holy Grail, you know, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King.
Bambi.
No, not quite. I'm talking about that late 80s, early 90s era. You know what I mean?
Okay, but I thought we was talking all the classics. Go to the vault. Okay.
But these are all in the vault. But
I know, but I'm saying, like, I was thinking back to the collection that's still at my mom's house. The vault. I got you. I know what you're saying. Aladdin.
Era. Yes. Up until Hercules, essentially. We don't talk about Pocahontas, though. We don't talk about that.
It's problematic now. I loved it as a kid.
Yes, but I tried to rewatch it, and the way my blood boiled.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard now, for sure.
It is unacceptable.
I still swear I still see the lady in the trees, though, at certain points in time in life. I'm not going to lie.
And so we were watching one of them, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, whichever. And I was saying the words. I sang all the lyrics. I said all my favorite parts in the movie. And he looked at me like I had two heads. He was like, what is going on here? I was like, I love these movies. I love these. One of my first best friends, shout out Brittany Banks. We connected because we sang a part of your world every day during lunch.
Aww.
In third grade.
Wow.
That's how much we love this movie. So last week we received the official trailer of the live action Little Mermaid movie that is coming out next March, starring the beautiful, the talented Halle Bailey. We get a glimpse of her red locks. We get a glimpse of the iconic Part of Your World song. She added so much emphasis on that B. I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? And for me, I got my entire life, Ashley, along with droves of beautiful brown and Black children. Yes. Most of it is little girls, but children, you're not going to forget this. Like, you know what I mean? Like the impact this is going to have. This beautiful moment, in my personal opinion, has been tarnished by raging racists.
We laugh to keep from crying.
Bro, I am looking at the Daily Mail, which I kind of don't like them because the way they hate on Meghan Markle, they need to be the last newspaper institution talking about racism. But this is the headline I'm looking at here. Trailer for Disney live action remake of The Little Mermaid gets 1.5 million dislikes on YouTube in just 2 days. YouTube has now disabled the disliked button, and there's so many TikTok think pieces on, you know, why is she Black, essentially? I mean, like people not understanding why a mythical character that lives in the sea could be brown skin.
I'm so tired of this shit. I'm sick of this shit.
My first question to you is, was it the right call for YouTube to disable that button, or should they have kept it to show true colors?
I mean, I understand the sentiment behind removing it because unless I can see the faces and names of the folks who are hitting dislike, does it really matter? You know what I mean? To call attention to it. It's just calling attention to such negativity and trying to dampen a moment the same way people will do when they're upset about Black characters in these mythical shows like Lord of the Rings. So they go bomb negative ratings and reviews on these programs.
Yeah.
So fuck y'all. Y'all are doing it to gain the attention, to try to damper people's excitement and joy. And to be honest, I haven't fed into it at all with The Little Mermaid. I've only focused on the positive.
Same.
I've loved Halle Bailey's posts. The children have made me almost come to tears on multiple occasions with their reactions. It's so beautiful to me. And so I choose not to, because we've seen this time and time again. We've had to talk about this with the latest incarnation of Obi-Wan Kenobi. We haven't talked about this, but we've been seeing it with the Lord of the Rings prequel series. We've talked about it with Hunger Games and with the fact that people thought Rue's death was less impactful because she was a little Black girl. We've talked about this one too many times, and I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah.
I love that there, to your point, some of the think pieces, people have given suggestions of books about people who have written fiction for slaves who became mermaids.
Ashley, that was one of the best tweets I saw. They're like,
girl,
as many Africans that have fallen into the sea, one way or another.
You think we couldn't be mermaids?
Girl.
There is fiction that has been written, and I'm going to read some of these books because, we love a mythical book. So I'm going to read some of these.
I own one right now. It's called Skin of the Sea. It's starring, and it talks about slavery. It talks about falling individuals who were enslaved, dropping in the ocean, and magic happening. Because as fucked up as that may be, we need to think of ways to soothing that. And so, of course, we're going to make up mythical creatures when it comes to that, too.
And even still, it doesn't just have to be slavery, folks.
No, it doesn't.
Mermaids do not exist to anyone's knowledge.
Yes, to anyone's knowledge. So I want to first praise Halle because she has been so beautiful in this moment. Anytime she does talk about it, she talks about focusing on the positive and the impact on Black and brown children, or all children, because it's okay to have someone who doesn't look like you. That doesn't mean you can't relate to them, because as Black children, we have always been able to find the humanity in people, regardless of their color, because guess what?
Exactly.
It was what was available to us, right?
And even still, we don't carry that hatred in our hearts, like some folks.
The other point I was going to say about the beautiful Halle Bailey, no one in this era has the ethereal voice that it takes to be Ariel in this moment, that has, the age or the youth, the already she's big to us, but this is definitely the biggest platform she's ever been on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the experience in the industry, name me a red hair young woman that with name recognition, or a white girl that you would have dyed her hair, that would be able to even compete to her vocal ability. There isn't any. And I say that because I'm like, she's this generation's Ariel, period. Her voice, I'm like, just listen to any of Chloe and Halle's music and you'll know immediately why they chose her to be Ariel.
And that matches, the casting, in my opinion, matches. She has that grace, she has that beauty, she has that elegance to me that Disney princesses, when I think of a Disney princess, has. You could say vocally, you could say someone like an Ariana Grande or something, but they're not going to be what I imagine vocally I want for that type of role and for that type of character.
Ariana would not have been able to do the role because I felt like, in my personal opinion, she's over-sexualized. So we're going back to Disney princess. She just saying, I've been in all night, been in all day, side to side. That's my song. Anyway. And let's not forget positions. So
she's still an actress, though. Do I think she could do it? Yes. I just personally, her singing style makes me not want her to do it. That'd be like having cast Christina Aguilera back in the day as Ariel. Christina's voice in my opinion, doesn't match with what I'm looking for
That's a good
that
point.
character. That's what I'm saying.
And the second point I want to highlight is Javier Bardem is playing Triton. This is the equivalent to the wonderful Brandy Cinderella. There isn't any really...
It's color blind casting in the sense of it doesn't have to make sense for what you perceive as the family structure and how that's supposed to look and all that. Check out that recap of Cinderella, by the way. We did recap that one.
We sure did. I mean, we have a talking crab and a talking fish.
Okay. And that's the biggest lie. Because when I went to Jamaica, I ain't see no red crabs. Sebastian is the biggest lie of that film.
This is when I wish we had video.
I was like, where's the Sebastians? I don't see any of them. I'm seeing them in the sand. I'm seeing them in the ocean. None of them are red.
Keep it 1000%. Even though it was a Black man who voiced Sebastian, he was tapping into all the stereotypes. Was he not? So I look forward to seeing this movie in the theaters. I'll probably see it more than one time. My daughter has never been into the theaters. And when they made this announcement that Halle would star as Ariel and Lin-Manuel wrote 5 new songs for it, I was like, this is going to be my daughter's first theater movie.
Aww.
Yeah, because it was my first theater movie as a little kid, The Little Mermaid. That's probably part of the reason why I was obsessed with it for so many years. So I am probably going to bawl my eyes out, Ashley, but I'm looking forward to it. We'll definitely talk about it. Looking forward to it. And any final thoughts on this hot topic?
Fuck all the haters. Halle, do your thing.
Go down in history, babe. All right, Ashley, what are we recapping next week?
All right, guys, we are going back into a series. We are going to recap Loot on Apple TV Plus. Previous hidden gem for me, starring Maya Rudolph as a billionaire's wife who gets half in that divorce settlement, baby, and has to figure out what to do with all that money. Can't wait to just talk about it, dissect it, get into some questions, all the things. In the meantime, guys, be blessed.
Bye.